Hi, I'm Bill from CJ Pony Parts. As you can see, our 68 Bronco build is getting very close to completion. Now this truck runs and drives, we've been able to put some miles on it and found that the existing front brakes are definitely not up to par with our new power plant. So to fix that problem, we're going to show you how to install Master Power's disc brake conversion kit using our 68 Bronco. This Master Power kit can include everything necessary to convert any classic Bronco with factory drum brakes to a modern disc setup. Include the necessary brackets, these two-piece vented, cross-drilled, and slotted rotors, and these aluminum 4-piston calipers, along with stainless steel lines and every piece of hardware necessary for the installation. The kit includes these beautiful satin finish aluminum 4-piston calipers with the MP logo on the outside. They come loaded with a semi-metallic pad and going to fit behind most original style and 15-inch or larger wheels. The kits also include these genuine Goodrich braided stainless steel lines. The stainless steel lines won't flex like a rubber line, provide very consistent quality braking. The two-piece rotors feature a powder-coated hat and, like I said, are cross-drilled, slotted, and vented for maximum performance. The kit's going to include new studs, brass washers, the fittings for the calipers themselves, and every piece of hardware needed for the installation. For this installation, you will need a press. If you don't have access to one, a local machine shop can press out the old studs and press the new ones in for a couple bucks. You also need a lift or a jack and jack stands, 3/8 ratchet, 1/2-inch ratchet, 3/8 torque wrench, 1/2-inch torque wrench, 7/16 socket, 9/16 socket, 3/4 socket, 3/8 Allen key, SC106 4-wheel drive axle nut socket, 3/8 and 7/16 line wrench, 10mm line wrench, 7/16 wrench, 1/2-inch wrench, 9/16 wrench, 18mm wrench, 3/4 wrench, needle nose pliers, snap ring pliers, small flathead screwdriver, pick, 9/64 Allen key, feeler gauge, and safety glasses. Our 68 Bronco has some sort of an aftermarket disc brake kit that was installed a long time ago. Whether you're on a disc brake like this or a drum brake, the process is going to be the same. Basically, we're going to remove everything to get the hub off of the truck to start the new installation. We're going to start by removing our caliper here and work on removing the hub, so we're going to remove the bracket. Next, we can move on to removing the cover for the locking hubs. Once that's off, you can see there's a snap ring right here. We're going to remove that next. Once you get the snap ring off, there's another small ring retainer right in here. You need a small pick. Basically, you want to get up underneath it and just work your way around to release it. This whole center section with the spring is going to come out. At this point, there's actually yet another ring then. It's going to be on the outside edge here. Again, come to the top with your pick. And get underneath the corner of it. Yeah. Now this outer piece is going to come out next. The easiest thing to do is grab two of the bolts you removed earlier to remove the cover. Just thread them in a little bit so you have something to get a grip on. You can pull it out. With that off, now we can see the lock nut we have to remove next. This will require a specialty socket to get off. Now we're back to the small pick to remove the ring that's underneath that. And then one final retaining nut in here. And we can remove our hub. Next, we can remove all these bolts here that hold the original bracket onto our Bronco. We're going to install our new caliper bracket. And now we're going to torque these to 35 foot-pound in a star pattern. The main bracket in place, the next piece we're going to install is going to be the extended bracket, which is going to mount like this. This is going to have to be shimmed. Master Power includes shims to push this out to get everything to line up properly. What we found is to start off with one each of the larger shims they include, then we can use the smaller ones if necessary to get it aligned better. The next part of the process is going to be to press the studs out of our factory hub so we can install the new longer studs provided by Master Power. Our car already had disc brakes on it, so this step's a little bit easier for us. If you have an original drum setup, there's going to be stakes around the edges of the factory studs here. You have to grind them off before you press them out, or you're going to damage your hub. With the studs pressed out, now we can prep our hub for installation of the new hub adapter for the rotor. Basically, the way this is going to work, it's going to fit down in here and actually offset down in the holes where the studs are, then press the new studs through. Before we can do that though, we want to clean this entire surface up, especially down in these holes, so it sits flush. And you want to make sure then it sits flat, the ridges where it's sitting up higher. And we're ready to install the studs. Now our assembled hub is ready to reinstall. Before we put the assembly on the car, now we're going to add the rotor to it. It's going to bolt to our new hub. We'll put a dab of Loctite on each bolt before we put it on. Get them all started loosely first. And just get them all snug before we torque them down. We're going to torque all of them to 9 foot-pound. It's ready to go back on our Bronco. Basically going to assemble everything now and measure our shims. Install the bearing and then retaining nut. I'm going to bolt the caliper on. We'll see how everything looks. At this point, the rotor is going to spin freely, but you have to make sure the caliper is actually centered. Even just looking at it, you can tell that our caliper is slightly inward. We're going to take some measurements with our feeler gauge and figure out where we got to be. Okay, we can see that we are basically 10,000th off, so the spacer that we use is a little bit too thick. We got to go a little bit smaller. Unfortunately, that means everything we just put together, it's got to take it back apart. The spacers we were using were a 10th or a 100,000th. We're going down to 90,000. That'll get us centered based on the math we did before with our feeler gauge. That's back together. We'll take our measurements again. Got 42 on that side, 42 there, and the same there. Okay, we're ready to put it all back together. Before we assemble everything with the hub, we're going to torque down caliper bolts to 88 foot-pound. Now we'll reinstall the ring. Make sure this does line up with the little stud off the retaining nut in there. To install this ring, there's two things you have to be particularly careful with. The top, there's a little cutout here that's going to fit over, and at the bottom, there's a little stud that has to come through the hole. If it doesn't line up right, that ring's not going to fit flush. It's not going to be installed properly. Make sure it fits flush. Those two things line up properly before you install the retainer. That's seated properly. Now we can install the retainer. That's seated, we can reinstall the retaining ring. Trick with this is to get the top started and sort of work your way around. And the last step will be to reinstall the snap ring. Now we're going to reinstall the cover. Start with the connection to the back of our caliper here. I'm going to grab the supplied bolt from both washers. Just get it hand tight for now until we install the line. Now we'll disconnect the hard line up here at the brake bracket. I want to release this clip. I'll put its applied fitting up into place. And we'll tighten both the upper and lower brake lines. And we'll repeat the process on the other side, bleed the brakes, and your installation is finished. The Master Power Disc Brake Kit's a great way to add modern braking to your classic Bronco. The installation is a little bit time consuming because of the four-wheel drive. Figure about 2 hours per side to be back on the road in no time.